Viking berserkers have long captivated the imagination, often depicted as fierce warriors who fought with an almost supernatural ferocity. Their legendary status is steeped in myth and history, leading to numerous misconceptions about their true nature. Many envision berserkers as mindless savages, driven solely by rage and bloodlust, but the reality is far more complex. These warriors were not merely frenzied fighters. They embodied a unique blend of psychological and physical attributes that set them apart in Viking society. The term berserker itself is believed to derive from Berserker, suggesting a connection to animalistic traits and a deep spiritual bond with nature. This connection often manifested in their battle frenzy, a state of heightened aggression and strength that allowed them to perform extraordinary feats in combat. However, this state was not simply a result of uncontrolled rage. It involved a profound psychological transformation, where the berserker would channel their emotions and instincts into a powerful force on the battlefield. This exploration of berserkers invites us to delve deeper into Viking history and mythology, revealing the intricate layers of their culture and the significance of these warriors within it. By examining the historical accounts, sagas, and archaeological findings, we can begin to unravel the truth behind the berserker, moving beyond the sensationalized portrayals to understand their role in Viking society and the enduring legacy they left behind. As we embark on this journey, we will uncover the fascinating interplay between myth and reality, shedding light on the berserkers' true nature and their place in the rich tapestry of Viking lore. Viking berserkers have long been shrouded in myth and legend, often portrayed as mindless killing machines driven solely by rage and bloodlust. This sensationalized image has permeated popular culture, leading many to believe that berserkers were simply savage warriors who fought without restraint or strategy. However, this portrayal is a gross oversimplification of their true nature. Historical accounts and sagas reveal a more nuanced understanding of berserkers, highlighting their selection, training, and the spiritual significance attributed to them within Viking society. Contrary to the notion of berserkers as chaotic fighters, evidence suggests that they underwent rigorous training and were often selected for their unique qualities. These warriors were typically chosen for their physical prowess, mental fortitude, and ability to enter a trance-like state during battle. This state, known as berserker, allowed them to channel their emotions and instincts into a powerful force, enhancing their combat abilities. Rather than being mindless, berserkers were strategic fighters who utilized their heightened state to gain an advantage over their enemies. Moreover, the concept of berserkers being chosen by Odin, the chief god in Norse mythology, adds another layer to their mystique. According to various sagas, berserkers were believed to be favored by Odin, who bestowed upon them the ability to tap into primal forces during battle. This divine selection not only elevated their status among warriors, but also imbued their actions with a sense of purpose and destiny. The implications of this belief were profound, as it suggested that berserkers were not merely fighting for personal glory or survival. They were engaged in a cosmic struggle, serving the will of the gods. As we delve deeper into the myths surrounding berserkers, it becomes clear that their portrayal as mindless killing machines fails to capture the complexity of their existence. By contrasting these myths with historical accounts, we can begin to appreciate the true nature of berserkers as skilled warriors who were deeply intertwined with the spiritual and cultural fabric of Viking society. This exploration not only challenges our preconceived notions, but also enriches our understanding of the Viking Age and the warriors who defined it. In examining the training and selection of berserkers, we find that they were often part of elite warrior groups, distinguished by their unique fighting style and psychological resilience. These warriors were not only physically strong but also mentally prepared to face the chaos of battle. They've practiced various techniques to enter their trance-like state, which involve rituals, chants, and possibly the use of psychoactive substances. This preparation was crucial, as it allowed them to harness their fear and aggression, transforming it into a focused and formidable force on the battlefield. The belief that berserkers were chosen by Odin further emphasizes the spiritual dimension of their role. In Norse mythology, Odin was associated with war, wisdom, and death, and he was known to select warriors for Valhalla, the Hall of the Slain. Berserkers, as his chosen warriors, were thought to embody the qualities that Odin valued: strength, and a willingness to embrace the chaos of battle. This divine connection not only elevated their status among their peers, but also instilled a sense of purpose in their actions. They were not merely fighting for personal gain. They were part of a larger narrative that intertwined their fates with the gods. As we continue to explore the myths surrounding berserkers, it is essential to recognize the impact of these misconceptions on our understanding of Viking culture. The portrayal of berserkers as mindless killers has overshadowed their significance as skilled warriors and spiritual figures. By examining the historical context and the beliefs that shaped their identities, we can begin to dismantle these myths and appreciate the complexity of their existence. In conclusion, the common myths surrounding Viking berserkers often depict them as mindless killing machines, a portrayal that fails to capture the reality of their selection, training, and spiritual significance. By contrasting these myths with historical accounts, we gain a deeper understanding of the berserkers as skilled warriors chosen by Odin, who embodied the values of bravery and strength. This exploration not only challenges our preconceived notions, but also enriches our appreciation of Viking history and the intricate tapestry of beliefs that define their culture. As we continue to unravel the truth behind the berserkers, we uncover a fascinating narrative that transcends the simplistic notions of savagery and chaos, revealing a rich and complex legacy that continues to resonate today. Daily life in Viking society was a tapestry woven from the threads of survival, community, and tradition, set against the backdrop of the rugged landscapes of Scandinavia. The living conditions were often harsh, with families residing in longhouses constructed from timber and thatch, designed to withstand the brutal elements. These longhouses, typically shared by extended families, featured a central hearth that served as the heart of the home, providing warmth and a place for cooking. The interior was dimly lit, with smoke curling up from the fire, creating a cozy yet often smoky atmosphere. The walls were adorned with tools, weapons, and woven tapestries that told stories of valor and heritage, reflecting the pride of the inhabitants. Family dynamics in Viking society were deeply rooted in kinship and loyalty. The family unit was the cornerstone of social structure, with each member playing a vital role in the household. Men were primarily responsible for hunting, fishing, and protecting the family, while women managed the home, raised children, and engaged in textile production, crafting clothing and household items. Children were taught the skills necessary for survival from a young age, learning to fish, farm, and participate in the community's daily activities. The bond between family members was strong, with a deep sense of responsibility for one another's well-being. Elders were respected for their wisdom, often serving as advisors and storytellers, passing down traditions and knowledge to the younger generations. However, life in Viking society was not without its challenges. The harsh realities of winter in Norway posed significant threats to survival. As the days grew shorter and the temperatures plummeted, the landscape transformed into a frozen wilderness. Food became scarce, and families had to rely on their ingenuity and resourcefulness to endure the long, dark months. Preserving food through drying, smoking, and fermenting was essential, as was the practice of gathering and storing supplies during the more bountiful seasons. The community often came together to share resources, reinforcing the bonds of kinship and cooperation that were vital for survival. To personalize this narrative, let us introduce two key characters, Helga and Bedtime. Helga, a skilled weaver and mother of three, embodies the spirit of resilience that characterizes Viking women. Her days are filled with the rhythmic sounds of her loom as she creates intricate patterns in wool, preparing garments for her family to withstand the cold. Helga is not only a caretaker, but also a vital contributor to the household's economy, bartering her textiles with neighbors for fish and meat. Her nurturing nature extends beyond her immediate family. She often takes in orphaned children from the village, ensuring they have a place to call home. But John, Helga's husband, is a formidable figure in the community, known for his prowess as a hunter and warrior. His days are spent traversing the rugged terrain, tracking game and gathering resources to sustain his family through the winter. Bjorn's strength and bravery are admired by many, but he also carries the weight of responsibility for the safety and well-being of his loved ones. He often shares tales of his adventures around the hearth, captivating his children with stories of mythical creatures and heroic deeds, instilling in them a sense of pride in their heritage. As winter descends upon their village, Helga and Bjorn face the stark realities of their environment. The biting cold seeps into their bones, and the once bountiful landscape is now a stark reminder of nature's unforgiving power. The family huddles together in their longhouse, relying on the warmth of the fire and each other for comfort. Helga's hands are calloused from weaving, yet she finds solace in the repetitive motions, creating beautiful textiles that will not only keep her family warm, but also serve as a testament to their resilience. Bjorn, on the other hand, prepares for the challenges that lie ahead. He sharpens his axe and checks his fishing gear, knowing that the success of their winter survival depends on his ability to provide for his family. The weight of his responsibilities is heavy, but he draws strength from the love of his wife and children, reminding himself that their survival was worth every effort. As the days grow colder and the nights longer, Helga and Bjorn's bond deepens. They share stories and laughter, finding joy in the small moments that punctuate their daily lives. The children, too, play a crucial role in the household, helping with chores and learning the skills necessary for their future. They gather around the hearth, listening intently to their parents' tales, their imaginations ignited by the stories of gods and heroes. The community plays an essential role in their lives as well. Neighbors come together to share resources, pooling their supplies to ensure that no one goes hungry during the harsh winter months. This sense of camaraderie is a hallmark of Viking society, where the survival of one family often depended on the strength of the community as a whole. Helga and Bjorn participate in communal feasts, where stories are exchanged and bonds are reinforcing the ties that bind them to their neighbors. As spring approaches, the thawing landscape brings new hope and opportunities. Helga begins to prepare her garden, planting seeds for vegetables that will sustain her family through the warmer months. Bjorn, invigorated by the promise of new life, sets out to hunt and fish, eager to replenish their stores after the long winter. The cycle of life continues, and with it, the resilience of Viking society shines through. In conclusion, daily life in Viking society was a complex interplay of survival, community, and tradition. The living conditions, family dynamics, and societal roles painted a vivid picture of a culture deeply connected to the land and each other. Helga and Bjorn exemplify the spirit of resilience that defined their lives, navigating the harsh realities of winter while nurturing their family and community. Their story, like that of many Vikings, is a testament to the strength of the human spirit in the face of adversity, a narrative that continues to resonate through the ages. As we reflect on their lives, we gain a deeper appreciation for the rich tapestry of Viking history and the enduring legacy of those who came before us. Vigmar, a young berserker, stood at the edge of the forest, the cool breeze ruffling his hair as he gazed into the dense thicket. From a young age, he had been plagued by an uncontrollable rage that surged within him like a tempest, threatening to consume him whole. This internal struggle was not merely a fleeting emotion. It was a force that shaped his very existence, dictating his actions and influencing his relationships with those around him. As he grew, the intensity of this rage became both a gift and a curse, marking him as a warrior destined for greatness, while simultaneously isolating him from the world he longed to connect with. Vigmar's earliest memories were tinged with the vivid colors of anger. As a child, he would often find himself in situations that ignited this fierce emotion. A simple disagreement with a playmate could escalate into a violent outburst, leaving him bewildered and ashamed. He would lash out, fists clenched, heart racing, as if a primal force had taken control of his body. The aftermath of these episodes was always the same: the frightened faces of his friends, the disappointed gaze of his father, and the overwhelming sense of loneliness that followed him like a shadow. Despite his youth, Vigmar felt the weight of his rage pressing down on him, a burden he struggled to understand. As he transitioned into adolescence, the uncontrollable rage that had once manifested in small skirmishes began to take on a more formidable form. Vigmar found himself drawn to the art of combat, where he could channel his anger into something productive. Training with the village warriors, he discovered that his rage could enhance his strength and speed, making him a formidable opponent in battle. Yet, with each victory came the realization that his anger was a double-edged sword. While it granted him power, it also alienated him from his peers. The other young men in the village admired his prowess, but feared the volatility that accompanied it. Vigmar became a figure of both respect and apprehension, a warrior whose internal struggle was visible to all but understood by none. The impact of his rage on his relationships was profound. Vigmar's friendships dwindled as he pushed others away, convinced that his anger would only bring harm to those he cared about. He longed for connection, for camaraderie, but the fear of losing control kept him at arm's length. His parents, too, were affected by his internal turmoil. His father, a respected warrior, struggled to comprehend the depths of Vigmar's rage, often resorting to stern admonishments that only deepened the chasm between them. His mother, on the other hand, offered gentle words of encouragement, urging him to find peace within himself. Yet, despite her love, Vigmar felt like a stranger in his own home, a young man wrestling with demons that no one else could see. It was during one of these tumultuous periods that Vigmar encountered a wanderer who had traveled far and wide, gathering wisdom from the many cultures he had encountered. Halvar was a man of the world, with a weathered face that told stories of hardship and adventure. He had seen the consequences of unchecked rage and the toll it could take on a person's soul. When he arrived in Vigmar's village, the young berserker was drawn to him, sensing that this man might hold the key to understanding his own internal struggle. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the village, Vigmar approached Halvar seeking answers. The wanderer welcomed him with a knowing smile, as if he had been expecting the young warrior. They sat by the fire, the crackling flames illuminating their faces as they spoke. Vigmar poured out his heart, sharing the burden of his rage and the isolation it had wrought. Halvar listened intently, nodding as he absorbed the young man's words. Rage is a powerful force, Vigmar, Halvar began, his voice steady and calm. It can drive you to greatness, but it can also lead to your downfall. The key lies in understanding it, in learning to harness it rather than allowing it to control you. Vigmar felt a flicker of hope at Halvar's words. But how can I control something that feels so primal, so overwhelming? He asked, his voice tinged with desperation. Halvar leaned closer, his eyes reflecting the firelight. You must confront it, embrace it, and then transform it. Rage is not inherently evil. It is a part of you. Acknowledge it, but do not let it define you. Find a purpose for your anger, channel it into something meaningful. Only then can you shape your own fate. These words resonated deeply within Vigmar, igniting a spark of determination. He realized that his rage did not have to be a curse. It could be a catalyst for change. Inspired by Halvar's insights, he began to explore ways to channel his anger into his training. Focusing on discipline and strategy rather than brute force, he sought to understand the roots of his rage, delving into the emotions that lay beneath the surface. As he trained, Vigmar discovered that the more he confronted his anger, the more control he gained over it. He learned to recognize the signs of his rage building within him, allowing himself to pause and breathe before reacting. This newfound awareness transformed his approach to combat, enabling him to fight with purpose rather than blind fury. He became a warrior who fought not just for victory, but for honor and the protection of his loved ones. However, the journey was not without its challenges. There were moments when the rage threatened to resurface, when the weight of his emotions felt too heavy to bear. During these times, Vigmar would seek solace in Halvar's wisdom, often finding the wanderer sitting by the fire, ready to share stories of his own struggles. Halvar spoke of battles fought not only on the field but within oneself, emphasizing the importance of self-acceptance and the courage to face one's demons. As the seasons changed, so too did Vigmar. He began to forge deeper connections with those around him, slowly rebuilding the relationships that had once been strained by his anger. His peers began to see him not just as a berserker but as a friend and ally. The village recognized his growth, and he became a source of inspiration for others who struggled with their own inner turmoil. Yet, despite his progress, Vigmar still grappled with the fear of losing control. The specter of his rage loomed large, a constant reminder of the battles he had fought within himself. He often found himself reflecting on Halvar's words, contemplating the delicate balance between harnessing his anger and allowing it to consume him. One fateful day, as the village prepared for a raid against a rival clan, Vigmar felt the familiar stirrings of rage within him. The anticipation of battle ignited a fire in his belly, and he struggled to maintain his composure. He could feel the adrenaline coursing through his veins, urging him to unleash the fury that had once defined him. In the midst of the chaos as swords clashed and shouts echoed through the air, Vigmar faced a pivotal moment. He stood before an enemy warrior, the embodiment of his rage. The urge to give in to the primal instinct surged within him, but he remembered Halvar's teachings. He took a deep breath, grounding himself in the present moment, and focused on the purpose behind his actions. With newfound clarity, Vigmar engaged in combat, channeling his anger into precise movements rather than reckless abandon. He fought with honor, protecting his comrades and defending his home. The battle raged on, but within the storm of chaos, he found a sense of peace. He was no longer a slave to his rage. He was its master. After the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded, Vigmar emerged not only as a warrior but as a man transformed. He had faced his internal struggle head-on, learning to embrace the complexities of his emotions. The journey was far from over, but he had taken significant strides toward understanding himself and his place in the world. In the aftermath of the raid, as the village celebrated their victory, Vigmar sought out Halvar, eager to share his experiences. The wanderer listened intently, a proud smile spreading across his face as Vigmar recounted his journey. You have learned well, my young friend, Halvar said, his voice filled with warmth. You have discovered the strength that lies within you, the power to shape your own fate. Vigma felt a sense of gratitude wash over him. Halvar had been a guiding light in his darkest moments, offering insights that had helped him navigate the tumultuous waters of his emotions. Thank you for your wisdom, Halvar, he replied, his voice steady. I could not have done this without you. As the sun set on the horizon, casting a golden hue over the village, Vigmar realized that his journey was just beginning. He had faced the internal struggle of a young berserker and emerged stronger for it. The rage that had once threatened to consume him had become a part of his identity, but had no longer defined him. Instead, it served as a reminder of the battles he had fought and the strength he had discovered within himself. In the days that followed, Vigmar continued to train and grow, embracing the complexities of his emotions, while forging deeper connections with his community. He became a mentor to younger warriors, sharing his experiences and encouraging them to confront their own struggles. The legacy of his journey would ripple through the village, inspiring others to seek understanding and acceptance in the face of their own internal battles. As he stood at the edge of the forest once more, Vigmar felt a sense of peace wash over him. The rage that had once threatened to consume him was now a part of his story, a testament to his resilience and growth. He had learned to navigate the tumultuous waters of his emotions, emerging not just as a berserker, but as a man of purpose and strength. The journey ahead was uncertain, but he was ready to face it, armed with the knowledge that he could shape his own fate. Vigmar's journey toward becoming a berserker was marked by a rigorous training regimen that tested both his physical limits and mental fortitude. From the moment he decided to embrace his destiny as a warrior, he committed himself to a life of discipline and sacrifice. The path was not easy. It demanded unwavering dedication and a willingness to confront the very essence of his being. The training began at dawn, with the first light of day breaking over the horizon. Vigmar would rise early, the chill of the morning air biting at his skin as he prepared for the day ahead. His mentor, a seasoned berserker named Ragnar, was a formidable figure who had earned respect through countless battles. Ragnar's presence was both intimidating and inspiring, and Vigmar felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation as he approached the training grounds. The regimen was grueling. Vigmar was subjected to a series of physical challenges designed to build strength, endurance, and agility. He would run 4 miles through the rugged terrain, his feet pounding against the earth as he navigated the rocky paths and dense forests. The landscape was unforgiving, but each step was a testament to his determination. Ragnar would often accompany him, pushing him to go further, to dig deeper, and to embrace the pain as a sign of growth. After the morning run, Vigmar would engage in combat training, sparring with other warriors in the village. The clang of swords echoed through the air as he practiced various techniques, honing his skills with both axe and shield. Ragnar emphasized the importance of strategy, teaching Vigmar to anticipate his opponent's moves and to remain calm under pressure. The physical demands of combat were immense, and Vigmar often found himself exhausted, his muscles aching and his breath coming in ragged gasps. Yet, with each training session, he felt himself growing stronger, more capable of harnessing the rage that simmered beneath the surface. In addition to physical training, Ragnar introduced Vigmar to the psychological aspects of becoming a berserker. He explained that embracing the berserker rage was not merely about losing control. It was about channeling that fury into a focused and powerful force. Ragnar guided Vigmar through meditation and breathing exercises, teaching him to tap into his emotions and to understand the roots of his anger. This process was both enlightening and challenging, as Vigmar confronted the darker aspects of himself, the fear, the pain, and the loneliness that had accompanied his rage for so long. As the weeks turned into months, Vigmar began to notice significant changes within himself. The training was transforming him, not just physically but mentally as well. He learned to embrace the rage that had once threatened to consume him, recognizing it as a source of strength rather than a weakness. The psychological effects of this transformation were profound. He felt a sense of empowerment that he had never experienced before. The anger that had once isolated him now became a tool for connection, allowing him to bond with his fellow warriors as they shared in the struggles of training and the anticipation of battle. However, the journey was not without its struggles. There were moments when the rage threatened to overwhelm him, when the memories of past failures and disappointments surged to the forefront of his mind. During these times, Vigmar would retreat to the forest, seeking solace in nature. He would sit beneath the towering trees, allowing the sounds of the wilderness to wash over him as he practiced the breathing techniques Ragnar had taught him. It was in these quiet moments that he found clarity, learning to accept his emotions without letting them dictate his actions. The pivotal moment in Vigma's transformation came when he was finally deemed ready for his first battle. The village had received word of a rival clan encroaching on their territory, and the warriors were called to defend their home. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation and fear, and Vigmor felt a mixture of excitement and dread as he prepared for the impending conflict. This was the moment he had trained for, the culmination of all his efforts, and yet, the weight of expectation pressed heavily on his shoulders. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the landscape, the warriors gathered at the edge of the forest, ready to march into battle. Vigmor stood among them, clad in his armor, his heart racing with adrenaline. He could feel the energy of the group, the camaraderie that had developed through their shared training. Ragnar stood at the front, rallying the warriors with a fierce speech, igniting their spirits and reminding them of their purpose. Today, we fight not just for our land, but for our families, our honor, and our legacy. Ragnar's voice boomed, resonating with the warriors. Embrace the rage within you, let it fuel your strength, and together we shall prevail. As they marched toward the enemy, Vigmor felt the familiar stirrings of rage bubbling to the surface. This time, however, he was determined to harness it. He focused on the faces of his comrades, the memories of their training, and the bond they had forged. The anticipation of battle ignited a fire within him, and he welcomed the rush of adrenaline as they approached the enemy camp. When the clash of swords began, it was as if time stood still. The chaos of battle enveloped him, and Vigmor felt the surge of rage coursing through his veins. He fought with a ferocity he had never known, channeling his anger into each swing of his axe. The adrenaline heightened his senses, allowing him to anticipate his opponent's moves with newfound clarity. He was no longer just a young man struggling with his emotions. He was a berserker, embodying the very essence of strength and power. Yet, amidst the chaos, the reality of battle began to set in. The sounds of clashing steel and the cries of the wounded filled the air, and Vigmor was confronted with the harsh consequences of his actions. In the heat of the moment, he struck down an enemy warrior, the weight of the act crashing over him like a wave. The rage that had fueled him now mingled with a sense of sorrow and loss. He had taken a life, and the gravity of that realization hit him hard. In the aftermath of the battle, as the dust settled and the cries of victory echoed through the air, Vigmor found himself grappling with conflicting emotions. He had fought bravely, earning the respect of his fellow warriors, but the cost of that victory weighed heavily on his heart. The faces of the fallen haunted him, and he realized that the berserker rage he had embraced came with a price. Ragnar approached him, sensing the turmoil within. "You fought well, Vigmor," he said, placing a hand on the young warrior's shoulder. "But remember, the path of a berserker is not just about strength. It is also about understanding the consequences of your actions. Embrace your rage, but do not let it blind you to the humanity of those you face." Vigmor nodded, the weight of Ragnar's words sinking in. He had achieved a significant milestone in his journey, but he also understood that the transformation into a berserker was an ongoing process. The rage that had once threatened to consume him was now a part of his identity, but it was essential to balance that with compassion and understanding. As the village celebrated their victory, Vigmor took a moment to reflect on the journey that had brought him to this point. He had faced his internal struggles, embraced the berserker rage, and emerged as a warrior. Yet, he knew that the path ahead would require continued growth and so the battle had been a pivotal moment, a turning point in his transformation, but it was only the beginning of a much larger journey. In the days that followed, Vigmor dedicated himself to understanding the complexities of his emotions. He sought out Halvar the Wanderer, who had once shared his insights. Eager to learn more about the balance between rage and compassion, Halvar welcomed him with open arms, ready to guide him on the next leg of his journey. Together, they explored the depths of the berserker's fate, discussing the importance of self-reflection and the need to confront the darker aspects of one's nature. Vigmor learned that true strength lay not only in physical prowess, but also in the ability to empathize with others, to recognize the shared humanity that connected them all. As he continued to train and grow, Vigmor became a mentor to younger warriors, sharing his experiences and encouraging them to embrace their own journeys. He understood that the path of a berserker was not a solitary one. It was a shared experience, a collective struggle that bound them together as a community. In the end, Vigmor's transformation into a berserker was not just about the rage that fueled him. It was about the journey of self-discovery, the understanding of his emotions, and the recognition of the responsibility that came with his power. He had faced the internal struggle, embraced the chaos, and emerged as a warrior not only of strength but also of compassion. The journey was far from over, but he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, armed with the knowledge that he could shape his own fate. The life of a berserker, while often romanticized as one of unbridled strength and valor, is fraught with emotional and moral complexities that can leave deep scars on the soul. For warriors like Vigmor, the aftermath of battle was not merely a time for celebration, it was a period of profound reflection, marked by feelings of emptiness and shame. The exhilaration of combat, the rush of adrenaline, and the intoxicating embrace of rage often gave way to a haunting silence, where the echoes of violence lingered long after the clamor of swords had faded. In the immediate aftermath of a battle, the village would erupt in cheers, celebrating their victory and honoring the fallen. Yet, for Vigmor and his fellow berserkers, the thrill of triumph was often overshadowed by a heavy weight of introspection. As they surveyed the battlefield, the reality of what they had done began to sink in. The bodies of the fallen, both friend and foe, served as stark reminders of the cost of their actions. The blood that stained their hands was not just a mark of victory. It was a testament to the lives taken, the families shattered, and the pain inflicted. Vigmor would often find himself wandering away from the celebrations, seeking solace in the quiet of the forest. The vibrant colors of the landscape, once a source of inspiration, now felt muted and dull. He would sit beneath the trees, grappling with the emptiness that gnawed at his insides. The rage that had fueled him in battle now felt like a double-edged sword, leaving him with a sense of hollowness that was difficult to articulate. He had fought bravely, but at what cost? The faces of those he had slain haunted him, their expressions frozen in time, a constant reminder of the moral implications of his actions. This internal conflict was further complicated by the duty he felt to Odin, the chief god of the Norse pantheon. As a berserker, Vigmor had been taught to honor Odin through acts of bravery and ferocity in battle. The belief that he was chosen by the god to embody the spirit of the warrior added a layer of complexity to his identity. He felt a deep sense of obligation to live up to the expectations placed upon him, to fight fiercely and without hesitation. Yet, this duty often clashed with his personal morality, creating a rift within him that was difficult to reconcile. Vigmor found himself questioning the very nature of his purpose. Was he merely a pawn in a divine game, destined to fulfill the whims of a god? Or was he a man with agency, capable of making choices that aligned with his own values? The teachings of Ragnar and Halvar echoed in his mind, urging him to embrace his rage, while also recognizing the humanity of those he faced. The struggle between duty and morality became a central theme in his life, forcing him to confront the uncomfortable truths about himself and the world around him. As he grappled with these questions, Vigmor began to explore the idea of identity. Who was he beyond the title of berserker? Was he defined solely by his ability to fight, or was there more to him than the rage that surged within? The journey of self-discovery became intertwined with his experiences on the battlefield. As he sought to understand the man he was becoming, the emotional turmoil he faced was not just a personal struggle. It was a reflection of the broader conflict that many berserkers experienced as they navigated the complexities of their roles in society. In the quiet moments of reflection, Vigmor would often think of his family and the life he had left behind. He remembered the laughter of his children, the warmth of his wife's embrace, and the simple joys of everyday life. The contrast between the violence of battle and the peace of home weighed heavily on his heart. He longed to be a protector, a provider, rather than a harbinger of death. This desire for connection and belonging fueled his internal conflict as he wrestled with the duality of his existence. The emotional implications of being a berserker extended beyond the battlefield. The shame that accompanied the act of killing lingered long after the adrenaline had faded. Vigmor would often find himself haunted by nightmares, visions of the faces of those he had slain, their eyes filled with fear and confusion. The weight of their lives weighed heavily on his conscience, and he struggled to find a way to reconcile his actions with his sense of self. The emptiness he felt was not just a personal burden. It was a reflection of the moral complexities inherent in the life of a berserker. As he continued to grapple with these feelings, Vigmor sought guidance from Halvar, the wanderer who had once shared his insights on the nature of rage. Halvar had traveled extensively, witnessing the consequences of violence and the toll it took on the human spirit. When Vigmor approached him, seeking answers, Halvar welcomed him with open arms, ready to share his wisdom. Vigmor Halvar began, his voice steady and calm. The path of a berserker is not an easy one. It is a journey filled with challenges, both external and internal. You must learn to navigate the complexities of your emotions, to embrace the rage while also recognizing the humanity of those you face. Vigmor listened intently, eager to absorb Halvar's words. But how can I reconcile my duty to Odin with my own morality? He asked, his voice tinged with desperation. How can I honor the god while also grappling with the shame of taking lives? Halvar nodded, understanding the weight of Vigmar's questions. The key lies in understanding that your duty to Odin does not absolve you of your responsibility to yourself and to others. You are not merely a vessel for rage. You are a man with a capacity for compassion and empathy. Embrace your identity as a warrior, but do not lose sight of the values that define you as a human being. These words resonated deeply within Vigmar, igniting a flicker of hope. He realized that he could honor Odin without sacrificing his own morality. He could fight fiercely while also striving to protect the innocent and uphold the values he held dear. The journey of self-discovery became intertwined with his duty as a berserker, allowing him to forge a path that aligned with both his identity and his beliefs. As he continued to train and grow, Vigmar began to explore ways to channel his rage into acts of protection rather than destruction. He sought to become a guardian of his people, using his strength to defend those who could not defend themselves. This shift in perspective allowed him to find purpose beyond the battlefield, transforming his identity from that of a mere warrior to that of a protector. The emotional implications of being a berserker were still present, but they no longer consumed him. Vigmar learned to embrace the complexities of his existence. Recognizing that the journey of self-discovery was ongoing, he understood that he would continue to grapple with feelings of emptiness and shame, but he also knew that he had the power to shape his own narrative. In the days that followed, Vigmar became a mentor to younger warriors, sharing his experiences and encouraging them to confront their own struggles. He emphasized the importance of understanding the emotional and moral implications of their actions, urging them to embrace their identities as both warriors and human beings. The bond he forged with these young men became a source of strength as they navigated the complexities of their roles together. As the seasons changed, so too did Vigmar's understanding of his purpose. He began to see the interconnectedness of all things: the warriors, the families, the land they fought to protect. The rage that had once defined him became a tool for connection, allowing him to forge deeper bonds with his community. He learned to channel his emotions into acts of service, using his strength to uplift others rather than tear them down. The journey of self-discovery continued, and Vigmar found himself questioning his purpose in new ways. He began to explore the idea of legacy, contemplating the impact he would leave on the world. What would he be remembered for? Would he be seen as a fierce warrior, or as a protector who fought for the greater good? These questions fueled his desire to grow, to evolve, and to become the man he aspired to be. In the quiet moments of reflection, Vigmar would often return to the forest, seeking solace in nature. The beauty of the landscape served as a reminder of the life he fought to protect. He would sit beneath the trees, allowing the sounds of the wilderness to wash over him as he contemplated the complexities of his existence. The journey of a berserker was not just about strength. It was about understanding the emotional and moral implications of one's actions. As he continued to navigate the challenges of being a berserker, Vigmar learned to embrace the duality of his existence. He was both a warrior and a protector, a man of strength and compassion. The rage that had once threatened to consume him became a source of empowerment, allowing him to forge a path that aligned with his values and beliefs. In the end, the emotional and moral implications of being a berserker were not obstacles to overcome. They were integral parts of his journey. Vigmar had learned to navigate the complexities of his identity, embracing the rage while also recognizing the humanity of those he faced. The journey of self-discovery was ongoing, but he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Armed with the knowledge that he could shape his own fate, the legacy he would leave behind would be one of strength, compassion, and a commitment to protecting those he loved. Vigmar stood at the edge of the forest, the familiar landscape stretching out before him, a tapestry of memories woven with both triumph and turmoil. The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a warm glow over the trees, yet the beauty of the moment felt overshadowed by the weight of his internal struggle. The decision to walk away from the life of a berserker loomed large in his mind, a choice that felt both liberating and terrifying. For years, he had embraced the identity of a warrior, channeling his rage into battle and seeking honor in the eyes of Odin. But now, as he reflected on his journey, he found himself questioning the very essence of that identity. The internal struggle had been brewing for some time, a quiet storm that had gradually the battles he had fought, both external and internal, had taken their toll. While he had once reveled in the thrill of combat, the aftermath of each victory left him feeling hollow. The faces of those he had slain haunted his dreams, and the weight of their lives pressed heavily on his conscience. The berserker rage that had once fueled him now felt like a chain, binding him to a path that no longer resonated with his evolving sense of self. Vigma had spent countless nights wrestling with his thoughts, seeking solace in the quiet of the forest. He would sit beneath the ancient trees, allowing the sounds of nature to wash over him as he contemplated his purpose. The teachings of Halvar, the Wanderer, echoed in his mind, urging him to embrace the complexities of his emotions and to seek understanding beyond the battlefield. Yet, the pull of the brotherhood, the camaraderie he had forged with his fellow warriors, made the prospect of leaving feel like a betrayal. As he grappled with these conflicting emotions, Vigma sought guidance from the Volva, a wise woman known for her deep connection to the spiritual realm. The Volva had long been a source of wisdom in the village, revered for her ability to see beyond the physical world and into the hearts of those who sought her counsel. When he approached her, he felt a mixture of apprehension and hope, unsure of what insights she might offer. The Volva welcomed him with open arms, her presence calming and reassuring. "Vigma," she said, her voice soft yet firm, "you carry a heavy burden upon your shoulders. The path of a berserker is not one to be taken lightly, and it is clear that you are at a crossroads." Vigma nodded, the weight of her words resonating deeply within him. "I feel lost," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "The rage that wants to find me now feels like a prison. I long to find my true self, but I fear that leaving the Brotherhood will mean abandoning everything I have fought for." The Volva regarded him with understanding, her eyes reflecting the wisdom of ages. "To walk away from the berserker life does not mean you abandon your strength or your honor. It is an act of courage to seek your own path, to embrace the journey of the true warrior is not defined solely by their ability to fight. They are defined by their capacity for growth and understanding." Her words struck a chord within Vigma, igniting a flicker of hope. He realized that the journey of self-discovery was not a rejection of his past, but an evolution of his identity. The teachings of the Volva emphasized the importance of understanding oneself, of recognizing the complexities of emotions and the need for personal growth. It was a reminder that true strength lay not only in physical prowess, but also in the ability to confront one's fears and embrace change. As he continued to speak with the Volva, she guided him through a series of meditative exercises, encouraging him to explore the depths of his emotions. Together, they delved into the roots of his rage, examining the pain and loss that had shaped him. The Volva's insights illuminated the path ahead, helping Vigma to see that his journey was not just about leaving the Brotherhood, but about forging a new identity, one that aligned with his values and aspirations. In the days that followed, Vigma found himself reflecting on the significance of the Volva's teachings. He began to understand that the berserker life, while filled with honor and camaraderie, was not the only path available to him. The internal struggle he faced was a necessary part of his growth, a catalyst for change that would ultimately lead him to a deeper understanding of himself. The decision to walk away from the Brotherhood was not made lightly. Vigma spent countless hours contemplating the implications of his choice, weighing the bonds he had formed against the desire for personal growth. He knew that leaving would mean stepping away from the life he had known, from the warriors who had become like brothers to him. Yet, he also recognized that clinging to that identity would only serve to stifle his evil. As he prepared to make his decision, Vigma sought out his fellow warriors, sharing his thoughts and feelings with them. He spoke of the internal struggle he had faced, the emptiness that had accompanied his victories, and the desire for a life that resonated more deeply with his true self. The reactions of his comrades were mixed. Some expressed understanding and support, while others struggled to comprehend his choice. "Vigma, you are a warrior," one of his closest friends, Bjorn, said, his brow furrowed with concern. "To walk away from the Brotherhood is to turn your back on everything we have fought for. You are one of us. You belong here." "I do not deny my past, Bjorn," Vigma replied, his voice steady, "but I must honor my journey. I cannot continue to fight without understanding the purpose behind my actions. I need to find my own path, one that allows me to grow and evolve." The conversation was difficult, filled with emotion and uncertainty. Vigma felt the weight of his decision pressing down on him, but he also felt a sense of liberation. The act of sharing his truth with his comrades was a step toward embracing his identity beyond the berserker life. He realized that true friendship would endure, even if their paths diverged. As the days turned into weeks, Vigma continued to prepare for his departure. He spent time reflecting on the lessons he had learned, the bonds he had forged, and the warrior he had become. The journey of self-discovery was not without its challenges, but he felt a growing sense of clarity and purpose. He understood that walking away from the Brotherhood did not mean abandoning his strength. It meant embracing a new chapter in his life. On the day of his departure, Vigma gathered his fellow warriors one last time, The atmosphere was heavy with emotion, a mixture of sadness and understanding. He stood before them, his heart pounding in his chest, ready to share his final thoughts. "Brothers," he began, his voice steady yet filled with emotion, "I stand before you not to say goodbye, but to honor the journey we have shared. The bond we forged in battle is unbreakable, and I will carry each of you with me as I embark on this new path. I have come to understand that my identity is not solely defined by my role as a berserker. I seek to grow, to discover who I am beyond the rage and the fight." The warriors listened intently, their expressions a mix of admiration and sorrow. Vigmore continued, "I am grateful for the lessons you have taught me, for the strength you have shown me. I will always cherish our time together, and I hope that you can understand my decision. I must honor my journey, and in doing so, I hope to find a deeper purpose." As he spoke, Vigmore felt a sense of release wash over him. The weight of his decision, once heavy and burdensome, began to lift. He could see the understanding in the eyes of his comrades, the respect for his choice shining through the sadness. They were warriors, bound by honor and loyalty, and while they would miss him, they recognized the importance of his journey. With a final embrace, Vigmore bid farewell to his brothers, stepping away from the life he had known. As he walked into the forest, he felt a sense of liberation, a newfound freedom, that came with the decision to embrace his true self. The path ahead was uncertain, but he was ready to face whatever challenges lay before him. In the days that followed, Vigmore embarked on a journey of self-discovery, seeking to understand his purpose beyond the identity of a berserker. He traveled to distant lands, meeting new people and learning from their experiences. Each encounter enriched his understanding of the world and himself, allowing him to explore the complexities of human emotion and connection. The teachings of the vulva continued to resonate within him, guiding his journey as he sought to embrace the lessons of compassion, empathy, and growth. He learned to navigate the intricacies of his emotions, recognizing that true strength lay not only in physical prowess, but also in the ability to connect with others on a deeper level. As he traveled, Vigmore encountered individuals from all walks of life, artisans and scholars, each with their own stories and struggles. He listened intently, absorbing their wisdom and insights, and in doing so, he began to forge a new identity. He was no longer just a berserker. He was a seeker of truth, a man on a quest for understanding. Through his journey, Vigmore discovered the importance of self. He learned to embrace the complexities of his emotions, recognizing that it was okay to feel anger, sadness, and joy. The journey of self-discovery was not linear. It was filled with twists and turns, moments of doubt and clarity. Yet, with each step, he felt himself growing stronger, more attuned to the world around him. As the seasons changed, so too did Vigmore. He found himself drawn to the beauty of nature, spending time in quiet reflection beneath the trees. The forest became a sanctuary, a place where he could connect with his thoughts and emotions. He learned to appreciate the simple joys of life, the warmth of the sun on his skin, the sound of the wind rustling through the leaves, and the laughter of children playing in the distance. In these moments of solitude, Vigmore began to understand that his journey was not just about leaving the berserker life. It was about embracing the fullness of his humanity. He realized that true strength lay in vulnerability, in the willingness to confront one's fears and uncertainties. The act of walking away from the Brotherhood had been a courageous step towards self, and he was grateful for the lessons it had taught him. As he continued to explore the world, Vigmore found himself drawn to the idea of service. He began to seek out opportunities to help others, using his strength to uplift those in need. Whether it was assisting farmers with their harvests or helping families rebuild after a storm, he found fulfillment in acts of kindness and compassion. The rage that had once defined him was now transformed into a force for good, a source of empowerment that allowed him to make a positive impact on the lives of others. Through his journey of self-discovery, Vigmore learned that identity is not a fixed concept. It is fluid and ever. He embraced the idea that he could be both a warrior and a protector, a man of strength and compassion. The teachings of the vulva had guided him toward a deeper understanding of himself, allowing him to forge a new path that resonated with his values and aspirations. As he reflected on his journey, Vigmore felt a profound sense of gratitude for the experiences that had shaped him. The decision to walk away from the berserker life had been a pivotal moment, one that had set him on a path of self-discovery and personal growth. He had learned to embrace the complexities of his emotions, to honor his journey, and to seek understanding beyond the battlefield. In the end, Vigmore's story was one of transformation, a testament to the power of self-discovery and the importance of honoring one's true self. He had faced the internal struggle of leaving the Brotherhood, but in doing so, he had found a deeper purpose, and a renewed sense of identity. The journey was ongoing, but he was ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead, armed with the knowledge that he could shape his own fate. The legacy he would leave behind would be one of strength, compassion, and a commitment to personal growth. A reminder that true warriors are defined not only by their battles, but by their capacity for understanding and connection. Vigma's journey of self-discovery and healing began in the quiet embrace of solitude, far removed from the clamor of battle and the expectations of the brotherhood he had once called home. After making the difficult decision to walk away from the life of a berserker, he sought refuge in the depths of the forest, where the sounds of nature provided a soothing balm for his troubled soul. The towering trees stood as silent witnesses to his transformation, their roots intertwined with the earth, much like the journey he was about to embark upon. In this solitude, Vigma found the space to reflect on his past, and to confront the emotions that had long been buried beneath the surface. The initial days were challenging, the silence was deafening, and the absence of his comrades left a void that echoed in his heart. Yet, as the days turned into weeks, he began to embrace the stillness, allowing it to guide him toward a deeper understanding of himself. The forest became his sanctuary, a place where he could explore the complexities of his emotions without judgment or distraction. During this time, Vigmor developed a variety of skills that would aid him in his journey of healing. He learned to forage for food, identifying edible plants and berries that grew abundantly in the wild. The act of gathering sustenance from the earth connected him to the natural world, grounding him in a way that he had never experienced before. Each meal he prepared was a reminder of his resilience, a testament to his ability to provide for himself without relying on the violence of the past. Vigmo also honed his skills in crafting. He fashioned tools and weapons from the resources around him, using his hands to create rather than destroy. The rhythmic motion of carving wood and shaping stone became a form of meditation, allowing him to channel his energy into something constructive. With each crafted item, he felt a sense of accomplishment and purpose, a stark contrast to the emptiness that had accompanied his battles. As he immersed himself in the beauty of the forest, Vigma began to explore the depths of his rage. The emotions that had once consumed him were now a part of his daily existence, and he recognized that understanding them was essential to his healing. He would often sit by the river, watching the water flow, and reflect on the moments that had triggered his anger. The memories of battle, the faces of those he had slain, and the weight of his choices flooded his mind. Instead of shying away from these thoughts, he leaned into them, allowing himself to feel the pain and sorrow that accompanied his past. Gradually, Vigma learned to master his rage, transforming it from a destructive force into a source of strength. He practiced breathing exercises and meditation techniques, focusing on grounding himself in the present moment. The act of acknowledging his emotions without judgment became a powerful tool in his journey. He discovered that rage, when understood and channeled, could fuel his passion for life rather than lead him down a path of violence. With time, the tumultuous storms of anger that had once raged within him began to settle. He found peace in the quiet moments, in the rustling of leaves and the gentle flow of the river. The forest became a mirror of his internal landscape, reflecting the calm that he was beginning to cultivate. Vigma learned to appreciate the beauty of simplicity, finding joy in the small things: a bird's song, the warmth of the sun on his skin, and the vibrant colors of the changing seasons. As he continued on this path of self-discovery, Vigma began to realize that his journey was not solely for himself. The lessons he had learned, the skills he had developed, and the peace he had found were gifts that he could share with others. He understood that there were many like him, warriors who had struggled with their own rage, who had faced the darkness of their pasts and sought a way to heal. The idea of helping others find their own paths began to take root in his heart, igniting a sense of purpose that had long been dormant. Vigma envisioned a community where individuals could come together to share their experiences, to support one another in their journeys of healing. He imagined a place where warriors could learn to embrace their emotions, to understand the complexities of their identities, and to find strength in vulnerability. The thought of creating such a space filled him with hope, and he felt a renewed sense of determination to make it a reality. With this newfound purpose, Vigma began to venture beyond the confines of his solitude. He sought out others who had been touched by the struggles of rage and violence, offering his support and guidance. He traveled to nearby villages, sharing his story and the lessons he had learned along the way. The response was overwhelming. Many were drawn to his authenticity and the wisdom he imparted. They saw in him a reflection of their own struggles, and the bond that formed between them was a testament to the power of shared experience. As he connected with these individuals, Vigma created a safe space for open dialogue. He encouraged them to share their stories, to confront their emotions, and to explore the depths of their own journeys. The gatherings became a sanctuary, a place where warriors could come together to heal and grow. They practiced mindfulness techniques, engaged in discussions about the nature of rage, and supported one another in their quests for self. Through these interactions, Vigma witnessed the transformative power of community. He saw individuals who had once been consumed by their anger begin to find peace. They learned to embrace their emotions, to channel their rage into creative outlets, and to cultivate a sense of purpose beyond the battlefield. The healing that took place within the group was profound, and Vigmor felt a deep sense of fulfillment in being a part of their journeys. As the seasons changed, so too did the community that Vigma had nurtured. The bonds formed among the warriors grew stronger, and the sense of camaraderie that had once defined his life as a berserker began to take on a new meaning. They were no longer just warriors. They were individuals committed to personal growth and healing, united by their shared experiences and aspirations. Vigma's journey of self-discovery and healing had come full circle. He had walked away from the life of a berserker, only to find a new purpose in helping others navigate their own paths. The skills he had developed in solitude crafting, foraging, and self-reflection had become tools for empowerment, not just for himself but for those around him. The rage that had once defined him was now a source of strength, a reminder of the journey he had undertaken and the lessons he had learned. In the quiet moments of reflection, Vigma felt a profound sense of gratitude for the experiences that had shaped him. He had faced the darkness of his past, embraced the complexities of his emotions, and emerged as a man of strength and compassion. The journey of self-discovery was ongoing, but he was ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead, armed with the knowledge that he could shape his own fate. As he looked out over the forest, the sun setting in a blaze of color, Vigma felt a deep sense of peace wash over him. He had found his place in the world, not as a berserker defined by rage, but as a healer and a guide for those seeking their own path. The legacy he would leave behind would be one of strength, compassion, and a commitment to personal growth, a reminder that true warriors are defined not only by their battles, but by their capacity for understanding and connection. With each passing day, Vigma continued to nurture the community he had built, fostering an environment of support and healing. He encouraged others to share their stories, to confront their fears, and to embrace the journey of self. The gatherings became a source of inspiration, a testament to the power of vulnerability and the strength that comes from connection. As the seasons turned, the community they celebrated their victories, both big and small, and supported one another through the challenges that arose. Vigma found joy in witnessing the growth of those around him, in seeing individuals transform their pain into purpose. The bonds formed within the group became a source of strength, a reminder that they were not alone in their struggles. Through his journey of self-discovery and healing, Vigma had come to understand that life is a continuous process of growth and evolution. He embraced the idea that healing is not linear. It is a journey filled with ups and downs, moments of clarity and confusion. The lessons he had learned along the way became guiding principles, shaping his approach to life and his interactions with others. As he continued to walk this path, Vigma remained committed to his own growth. He sought out new experiences, exploring different cultures and philosophies that resonated with his journey. He learned from those he encountered, absorbing their wisdom and insights, and integrating them into his understanding of self and community. In the quiet moments of reflection, Vigma often returned to the teachings of the Vulva, the wise woman who had guided him in his early days of solitude. Her words echoed in his mind, reminding him of the importance of embracing one's journey and honoring the complexities of the human experience. He understood that healing is not a destination but a lifelong process, one that requires patience, compassion, and a willingness to confront the shadows within. As he looked to the future, Vigma felt a renewed sense of purpose. He envisioned a world where individuals could come together to support one another in their journeys of healing, where the bonds of community could transcend the struggles of the past. He dreamed of creating a sanctuarial place where warriors and seekers alike could gather to share their stories, to learn from one another, and to find solace in the understanding that they were not alone. With this vision in mind, Vigma began to lay the groundwork for a new chapter in his life. He sought out allies who shared his passion for healing and community, individuals who understood the importance of supporting one another in their journeys. Together, they began to create a space where people could come together to explore the depths of their emotions, to confront their fears, and to embrace the journey of self. As the community continued to grow, Vigma felt a profound sense of fulfillment. He had transformed his pain into purpose, using his experiences to guide others on their paths. The journey of self-discovery and healing had become a collective endeavor, a testament to the power of connection and the strength that comes from vulnerability. In the end, Vigma's story was one of transformation, a journey from the life of a berserker defined by rage to a healer committed to helping others find their own paths. He had faced the darkness of his past, embraced the complexities of his emotions, and emerged as a man of strength and compassion. The legacy he would leave behind would be one of hope, a reminder that true warriors are defined not only by their battles, but by their capacity for understanding and connection. As he stood at the edge of the forest, watching the sun dip below the horizon, Vigma felt a deep sense of peace wash over him. He had found his place in the world, not as a berserker, but as a guide for those seeking their own journeys of self-discovery and healing. The path ahead was filled with promise, and he was ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead, armed with the knowledge that he could shape his own fate and help others do the same. Vigma stood at the edge of the training grounds, watching as Ragnar and the other berserkers prepared for their session. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm glow over the clearing, but the atmosphere was charged with tension. Ragnar, once a fierce warrior known for his unyielding strength, now struggled to control the rage that had defined him for so long. The internal battles he faced were evident in the furrow of his brow and the clench of his fists. Vigma felt a pang of empathy for his friend. He had once walked a similar path, and he understood the weight of the burden that Ragnar carried. Determined to help Ragnar and the other berserkers regain control over their emotions, Vigma had devised a series of training methods that focused not only on physical strength, but also on mental resilience. He believed that true mastery of rage required a holistic approach, one that addressed the emotional and psychological aspects of their experiences. The journey would not be easy, but Vigma was committed to guiding his fellow warriors toward a healthier understanding of their identities. The first step in Vigma's training regimen was to establish a foundation of mindfulness. He gathered the berserkers in a circle, encouraging them to sit in a comfortable position and close their eyes. "Today, we will begin by focusing on our breath," he instructed, his voice calm and steady. "Inhale deeply through your nose, filling your lungs, and exhale slowly through your mouth. Let go of the tension in your body and allow yourself to be present in this moment." As the warriors followed his lead, many of them were accustomed to the chaos of battle, where adrenaline and rage fueled their actions. The idea of sitting in silence and focusing on their breath felt foreign, even uncomfortable. Yet, as the minutes passed, he noticed a subtle shift. The tension in their shoulders began to ease, and the furrowed brows soft. Vigma felt a sense of hope. This was just the beginning of their journey. After the mindfulness exercise, Vigma transitioned into physical training. He emphasized the importance of channeling their rage into controlled movements, teaching them techniques that required precision and focus. "When you feel the anger rising within you, remember that it is a powerful force," he explained. "But it must be harnessed, not unleashed recklessly. Let's practice our strikes with intention, focusing on the target rather than the chaos around us." Ragnar, who had been struggling to find his footing, stepped forward to demonstrate a series of strikes. Vigma watched closely, noting the tension in his friend's body as he swung his axe. The movements were powerful, but lacked the finesse that came from control. Ragnar, Vigma called gently, "Remember to breathe. Let the anger flow through you, but do not let it consume you. Strike with purpose, not with fury." As they continued to train, Vigma offered individualized feedback to each berserker, encouraging them to embrace their emotions, while also recognizing the importance of restraint. He understood that the journey to regain control would not be without its challenges. Many of the warriors had spent years defining themselves by their rage, and the prospect of change was daunting. Ragnar, in particular, faced significant hurdles. The memories of past battles haunted him, and the weight of guilt and shame often threatened to overwhelm him. During one training session, as they practiced their strikes, Ragnar suddenly faltered, his axe trembling in his grip. "I can't do this," he admitted, his voice strained. "The rage is too strong. I feel like I'm losing myself again." Vigma approached him, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "You are not alone, Ragnar. We are all in this together. It's okay to feel the rage. It's a part of who you are. But we must learn to control it, to use it as a source of strength rather than a weapon of destruction. Let's take a moment to breathe together." They paused, and Vigma guided Ragnar through a breathing exercise, encouraging him to visualize the anger as a river flowing through him. "Imagine that you are standing on the bank of this river," he instructed. "You can see the water rushing by, but you are not swept away by it. You have the power to choose how you respond. As Ragnar focused on his breath, Vigmar could see the tension begin to ease in his friend's body. The storm of emotions that had once threatened to consume him began to settle, if only for a moment. It was a small victory, but it was a step in the right direction. Vigmar felt a surge of determination. He would not give up on Ragnar or the other berserkers. The challenges faced by Ragnar and the other warriors were multifaceted. Many of them had experienced trauma in battle, witnessing the loss of comrades and the devastation of war. The weight of these experiences often manifested as anger, frustration, and a sense of helplessness. Vigmar recognized that addressing these underlying issues was crucial to their healing process. In addition to physical training, Vigmar introduced group discussions, creating a safe space for the berserkers to share their experiences and emotions. He encouraged them to speak openly about their struggles, to confront the demons that had haunted them for so long. "We are not here to judge one another," he emphasized. "We are here to support each other in our journeys. Let's share our stories and learn from one another." During one of these discussions, Ragnar opened up about the guilt he felt for the lives he had taken in battle. "I thought I was fighting for honor, for my brothers," he said, his voice trembling. "But now I see the faces of those I've slain in my dreams. I can't escape the feeling that I've lost a part of myself." Vigmar listened intently, his heart aching for his friend. "Ragnar, it's important to acknowledge those feelings," he replied gently. "You are not defined by your past actions. You have the power to choose a different path moving forward. Healing takes time, and it's okay to feel the weight of your experiences. But remember, you are not alone in this." As the discussions continued, the bond among the berserkers deepened. They began to share not only their struggles, but also their triumphs. Each small victory, whether it was mastering a new technique or confronting a painful memory, was celebrated as a step toward healing. The atmosphere shifted from one of isolation and shame to one of support and camaraderie. Vigmar watched as the brotherhood transformed into a supportive community, where warriors could lean on one another in times of need. The shared experiences created a sense of belonging, a reminder that they were not defined solely by their rage, but by their capacity for growth and connection. The training sessions became a sanctuary, a place where they could explore their emotions and learn to navigate the complexities of their identities. As the weeks turned into months, the progress made by Ragnar and the other berserkers was remarkable. They began to regain control over their emotions, learning to channel their rage into focused energy rather than allowing it to consume them. The physical training, combined with the emotional support of their peers, fostered an environment of healing and growth. Ragnar, in particular, experienced a profound transformation. The once trembling warrior began to find his footing, mastering the techniques that Vigmar had taught him. He learned to embrace his emotions without fear, recognizing that they were a part of his journey rather than a hindrance. The guilt that had once weighed heavily on his heart began to lift, replaced by a sense of purpose and determination. One day, as they trained together, Ragnar approached Vigmar with a newfound confidence. "I can feel the change within me," he said, a smile breaking across his face. "The rage is still there, but it no longer controls me. I've learned to harness it, to use it as a source of strength." Vigmar felt a swell of pride for his friend. "That's the spirit, Ragnar. You've come so far, and I'm honored to have been a part of your journey. Remember, this is just the beginning. Continue to embrace your emotions and support one another as you move forward." As the Brotherhood continued to evolve, the warriors began to take on leadership roles within the community. They organized group training sessions, shared their insights with one another, and offered support to those who were still struggling. The transformation of the Brotherhood into a supportive community was a testament to the power of connection and the strength that comes from vulnerability. Vigmar felt a deep sense of fulfillment as he witnessed the growth of his fellow warrior. The journey of self-discovery and healing was not just his own. It had become a collective endeavor, one that brought them closer together as a community. The bonds formed through shared experiences created a sense of unity that transcended the struggles of the past. As the seasons changed, the training grounds became a vibrant hub of activity. The sound of laughter and camaraderie filled the air as the berserkers practiced their techniques, shared their stories, and celebrated their victories. Vigmar felt a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that he had played a role in helping his friends regain control over their lives. One evening, as the sun set over the horizon, casting a warm glow over the training grounds, Vigmar gathered the berserkers for a final reflection. "Tonight, we celebrate not only our progress, but also the strength of our community," he began, his voice filled with emotion. "We have faced our demons together, and we have emerged stronger for it. Remember that healing is an ongoing journey, and we are here to support one another every step of the way." The warriors nodded in agreement, their faces reflecting a sense of pride and accomplishment. They shared stories of their growth, of the challenges they had overcome, and of the bonds they had forged. The atmosphere was filled with a sense of hope and possibility, a reminder that they were not defined by their past, but by their capacity for change. As the night wore on, Vigma felt a deep sense of gratitude for the journey they had undertaken together. The Brotherhood had transformed from a group of warriors, defined by rage, into a supportive community, committed to healing and growth. The lessons learned along the way would resonate for years to come, shaping their identities and guiding their path. In the days that followed, Vigma continued to support Ragnar and the other Berserkers, encouraging them to embrace their journeys of self-discovery. He emphasized the importance of maintaining the connections they had forged, reminding them that they were stronger together. The community they had built was a testament to the power of vulnerability and the strength that comes from supporting one another. As he reflected on the journey, Vigma felt a profound sense of fulfillment. He had witnessed the transformation of his friends, the reclamation of their identities, and the emergence of a supportive community. The path had not been easy, but the progress made by Ragnar and the other Berserkers was a testament to their resilience and determination. In the end, Vigma's efforts to help Ragnar and the other Berserkers regain control had not only changed their lives but had also transformed his own. He had discovered the power of connection, the importance of vulnerability, and the strength that comes from supporting one another on the journey of self-discovery. The legacy they would leave behind would be one of hope, a reminder that true warriors are defined not only by their battles, but by their capacity for understanding and connection. As the sun set on the horizon, casting a warm glow over the training grounds, Vigma felt a deep sense of peace wash over him. He had found his place in the world, not as a berserker defined by rage, but as a guide for those seeking their own journeys of self-discovery and healing. The path ahead was filled with promise, and he was ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead, armed with the knowledge that he could shape his own fate and help others do the same. The journey of the Berserkers is a profound exploration of the complexities of rage, identity, and the transformative power of self-discovery. Throughout their experiences, these warriors have navigated the tumultuous waters of their emotions, learning to harness their rage not as a destructive force, but as a source of strength and empowerment. This journey is not just about the physical battles fought on the battlefield. It is also about the internal struggles that shape who they are as individuals and as a community. At the heart of the Berserker's journey lies a critical understanding of the nature of rage. Initially, many of these warriors viewed their anger as an uncontrollable beast, a primal force that dictated their actions and defined their identities. This perception often led to chaos and destruction, both in their personal lives and in their relationships with others. However, as they embarked on their paths of self-discovery, they began to realize that rage, when understood and channeled, could be a powerful ally rather than an adversary. Through training, mindfulness, and open dialogue, the Berserkers learned to confront their emotions head-on. They discovered that acknowledging their rage did not mean succumbing to it. Instead, it meant embracing it as a part of their identity, while also recognizing the importance of control and restraint. This shift in perspective allowed them to reclaim their power, transforming their anger into a force for good. The journey taught them that true strength lies not in the absence of emotion, but in the ability to navigate the complexities of those emotions with grace and understanding. The evolution of the Berserkers also highlights the significance of identity. For many of these warriors, their identities had been closely tied to their roles as fighters, defined by their ability to unleash fury in battle. However, as they explored the depths of their emotions and engaged in self-reflection, they began to understand that their identities were multifaceted. They were not just berserkers. They were individuals with dreams, aspirations, and the capacity for compassion. This realization opened the door to new possibilities, allowing them to redefine themselves beyond the confines of their past. The journey of self-discovery is not limited to the Berserkers alone. It is a universal experience that resonates with all of us. Each person faces their own struggles, grappling with emotions that can feel overwhelming at times. The key takeaway from the Berserker's journey is the importance of embracing our emotions, understanding their roots, and using them as catalysts for growth. It encourages us to reflect on our own paths and choices, to ask ourselves how we can navigate our emotions in a way that empowers us rather than holds us back. As you consider your own journey, take a moment to reflect on the following questions. What emotions do you struggle with? How do those emotions shape your identity? Are there aspects of your life that you feel compelled to change or redefine? The process of self-discovery is ongoing, and it requires courage, vulnerability, and a willingness to confront the complexities of our experiences. In sharing the story of the Berserkers, we hope to inspire you to embark on your own journey of self-discovery. Remember that you are not alone in your struggles. There is a community of individuals who share similar experiences and challenges. Embrace the opportunity to connect with others, to share your story, and to learn from one another. If you found this exploration of the Berserker's journey meaningful, we invite you to subscribe to our channel for more content that delves into the intricacies of human emotion, identity, and personal growth. By subscribing, you'll stay updated on our latest videos, discussions, and insights that can help you navigate your own path. Additionally, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others who may benefit from this message. Your support helps us reach a wider audience and fosters a community of individuals committed to self-discovery and healing. Together, we can create a space where we can learn, grow, and support one another on our journeys. In conclusion, the journey of the Berserkers serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of self-discovery and the complexities of rage and identity. By embracing our emotions and understanding their impact on our lives, we can transform our experiences into opportunities for growth. Let us all take a step towards self-discovery, reflecting on our paths and choices, and supporting one another as we navigate the intricacies of our own journeys. Thank you for joining us on this exploration, and we look forward to sharing more insights with you in the future.